Hello everyone, welcome back to the new video. So in this video we are going to set up our GitHub repository that will act as the server of our app. But before that let's have a brief on how our Android blog has will manage the data. So generally an app needs to save and fetch the data. So it has two options. They can either save on the data locally or remotely. When the data is stored on the user's device like a phone, tablet or computer, they use the local database. It's like saving notes on your phone, only you can see them and they are only available on your device. Next option, an app has to save the data remotely. Here we save the data on the servers. They are the special computers which are connected to the internet and can be accessed from anywhere. Storing data remotely is like saving notes on your cloud services like Google Drive, Dropbox, etc. You can access them from different devices as long as you have an internet connection. But why we store the data remotely? Many apps store their data on remote servers because user can access their data from any device and the data stays safe even if the app is uninstalled or the device is lost. And next big advantage we have, developers can update the content anytime and all user get the latest version automatically. Now next thing, if we have so much advantages of saving data remotely, then why we store the data locally? So despite the advantages of remote storage, local storage is equally important. Here the app works without the internet and it can load faster because it doesn't have to fetch data from a server every time, and it reduces dependency on an external server. Like if the server is down, user can still access the saved data. As I mentioned that we can store the data remotely using a dedicated server, but we are going to use GitHub. Generally, most app stores data remotely using cloud services like Firebase, AWS, or custom backend servers. However, these services cost money for hosting, maintenance, and scaling. Since our blog app only fetches data, not real time or user generated content, we can use GitHub as a free alternative to store blog data. GitHub is usually used for code sharing, but it can also be used as a simple data storage service. We will keep a JSON file on GitHub containing the blog metadata like title, image URL, content URL, etc. Then we will store the blog content as Markdown files on GitHub, and then we can fetch this data from GitHub and show it in our app. So this approach allows us to use a free and reliable service without paying for a backend. But using GitHub as a server, it has pros and cons. First, let's have a brief on pros. So GitHub provides you some useful benefits for our use case, like it's free, no hosting or database cost. To update the data, just push changes to the GitHub repository and the app fetches new content. And it is quite reliable since GitHub is a trusted platform with high uptime. But as always, everything has some cons also. So here the cons are, here the changes don't appear instantly. The app needs to refresh data manually. And one of the biggest cons is we can't process data like users comment or rating directly on the GitHub. And next thing we have, the app won't load new blocks if the user is offline. But I have got a solution for some of these cons. Since GitHub has some limitation, we will combine remote and local storage for the best experience. Here when the app starts, it will fetch blocks from GitHub. In case if there is no internet connection or get some error, then the app gets the saved data from the local database. By using GitHub for remote storage and local storage for offline access, we get the best of both worlds, a free, reliable data source and a fast offline first app. Now enough talking, let's create our GitHub repository. Hey everyone, if you are finding this tutorial helpful, you will love my premium Udemy course where we will build 𝒉𝒂𝒄𝒌𝒐𝒖𝒕, a fitness app using Jetpack Compose. We go in depth on the Firebase authentication, Firestore and more. Check out the course in the description and take your skills to the next level. See you there. So go to your GitHub profile and in this repository section you will find all your repository. But we are going to create a new repository by pressing on this new button on the right side. And here we can name our repository. So let's name is something like Android blogs server. And here you can give the description and it is optional. For now I will leave it blank. One important thing, you need to keep your repository as a public. If you keep the repository private, then the app cannot access the files without the access token. But that access token has some limited lifetime of like 1 hour or half an hour. But keeping this repository as public is also has some benefit, like you can keep this repository as the website of your blog app. You can create a simple web page and then you can get those markdown files from this repository, and there you will have a blog website also in addition of an Android app. So let's keep this public and scroll down, and here add this readme file and this git ignore and this license just use none and create repository. And here we have a public repository. So right now we only had a readme file of this markdown format, and if I click on this then we can see the preview and the code. So here is the simple text in a markdown file. So what these markdown files are, we will get into more details in the future videos. But for now, we will understand some basic things. Here to keep all these files, we are going to use this structure. So all the files and everything will be manageable for a larger repository also. First thing, let's see how we can create a new file. So you just need to click this plus button and create new file. Let's name this file like blogs.md, and here you can write the content of this file like these are the blogs. And if you want to save this file, then we have this commit changes button and commit these changes. You can also write your custom messages so you can track those changes. But for now, let's use this message and commit changes. And here we have a new file with the name blogs.md, and if you click then you can also see the content here. And if you want to delete this file, then go to this more option button and scroll down, and here we have a button delete file, and let's commit this change. And now that file has been deleted. Now next thing, how we can create a file in a separate folder. So that is also quite simple. First go back to our repository and click on this plus icon and create new file. And if you first need to create a folder and then a file in that folder, so here you need to specify the folder name. So we are going to use the folder blogs, and you just need to press this slash, and there you have a new folder with the name blog. And now you can write your file name, and first file we will be having this blog1.md, and the content will be the this is the first blog content, and commit this change. And here you have a new folder with the name blogs, and if you go into this folder and you have a new file with the name blog1. So let me create two more files for two more blogs. And here we can see this new file is creating inside this blocks folder. So here we have a folder where we have these 3 files. Next thing we will see how we can create a new folder, but that folder needs to be empty. So here on GitHub you cannot create an empty folder. But why we need to create an empty folder? So we will create an empty folder with the name images, and there we can upload all those images. So create an empty folder. You just need to click this plus icon and create new file. And first thing we need to name our folder, and our folder name will be images, and then place this slash. And here we generally use this file, and this is not any specific file. I have just created it for the sake of an empty folder. So let's just commit this change. And here we have one more folder with the name images, and we have a file with the name git keep, but we don't care about this file. What we need is some images inside this folder. So press this 3 dot and upload files. And here you need to choose your files from your computer. And here I need these 3 files for article on these things. So let's click on this open, and it will upload these 3 files. And here we have files and commit changes, and go to our images folder, and we have 3 images. These images I have generated from the image generator. So that's all for this video. We have successfully learned how and why the app needs to store the data locally and remotely. And we also have seen how we can create a GitHub repository and new files and folder. So in the next video, we will learn more about the JSON, how we can structure that, and we will create a new file with the name blocks.json with the actual data. So we can fetch that data to our app and show those blocks. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to drop them down in the comment section. And if you are finding these videos helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.